Hey y'all, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Tom with RV Texas, y'all.
Welcome back. Today we're in Central Texas, not too far from Waco, at the very first Texas State Park.
Yeah, you might say this is the mother of all the Texas state parks. So stick around while we show you around Mother Neff State Park. So before we start our tour, there's some interesting developments here at Mother Neff State Park. Back in 2015, they finished a huge renovation to this park. So the park that you can actually enjoy right now in this park is everything they did in 2015, that they finished in 2015. And luckily they did do that, because in 2016, the park severely got flooded. The older section of the park was totally underwater. And before they could even get it all repaired, in 2018, November, I believe.
They said between November of 18 and January of 19, the park, that section of the park flooded 3 more times.
3 more times. So if you haven't been to this park since 2015, you really haven't seen this park. So you need to get back here, and it's beautiful.
So come on while we show you.
Yeah.
Now, to talk about the history of Mother Neff State Park, and really all Texas state parks, you have to come here. This is near the Leon River, and this is where Noah and Isabella Neff came from Virginia and settled in 1854. Now, Isabella Neff was really active in the community, and everybody loved her, and they all called her Mother Neff. One of the things that she was most famous for was her belief that nature was great for everybody and that everyone should spend time outside. And she always made sure that her property, parts of it, were open for the community to come in and have picnics and reunions and just spend time in nature. Their youngest son, Pat Neff, became governor. He was elected in 1920, and in 1921, when he moved into the governor's mansion, his mom came with him. His dad had already passed, and shortly thereafter, she passed away. Well, she, in her will, Mother Neff said, I want part of my land to always be available for the community. And at that time, Texas didn't have any state parks. There were no public lands in the state. And as Governor Neff had been going around doing his campaigning, he had realized that. And so he thought, wow, inspired by his mother's generosity, he added on to that donation and started trying to build a parks board. Now, during his time as governor, he developed a parks board, and he, along with 7 other folks, men and women, went around and collected land donations to create parks, but they didn't have funding. That didn't come till the 1930s, when Governor Miriam Ferguson, finally signed off on a bill for funding from Texas. And with the founding of the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, as part of the New Deal program under Franklin Delano Roosevelt's presidency, came into effect, Ma Ferguson was able to get federal funding and bring the Civilian Conservation Corps to Texas. So as the CCC was forming in 1933, another important thing happened. Former Governor Pat Neff came on to the Parks Board himself. And so now, as a member of the Parks Board, with the funding of the CCC and the federal funding and the state's boards, he was active in further developing the state park system. Now, this is the current park headquarters, built in 2015, very new, but very much in the style of the CCC. And there's interesting tidbits everywhere. You'll see the name Isabella's on the wall. Well, that's an ode to Isabella Neff, Mother Neff. There is a museum in here where it talks about the Neff family and the land and the people who were here before the Neff family, the native folks that came through and how they used the land. And of course, the Civilian Conservation Corps themselves and all the work that they did. They were here from 1934 to 1938. And after they left, the projects were completed in the 1940s by an all-women's unit of the National Youth Administration. So Mother Neff State Park has one of the most creative, interesting playgrounds that we found. No, the most creative, interesting playground that we've found so far in any state park. We thought we'd come by and check out the Nature Playscape. So the lower section of this park is prone to flooding due to changes that have happened in the area over the years. And what they've done is they've taken some of those downed trees and they've made a natural playscape area out of those materials. So they've repurposed some of the things that Mother Nature has taken away from Mother Neff, and they've brought it here to the playscape, which is a great way to enjoy it, I think. So right behind the playscape, they have a birdhouse. And all throughout the park, we've noticed they have these birdhouses. Each one has its own name. This one they call the Primrose Birdhouse. And in each one, it tells you a little bit about some of the types of birds you might expect to find here. And it takes one of those birds and it gives you a few fun facts about that bird. Today, the park is having a ranger program about the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC, and the founding and the history of Mother Neff State Park. So that's something we're always happy to learn about.
Yeah, this is a beautiful facility too. And look at this. This is the
rainwater.
Yeah, this is the front office area. Check-in.
So here's one of the drills that the CCC would have used when they were building the park. Amazing to believe that everything was drilled with something like this. My granddad used to have one of these, so I know how it works, but I didn't work as hard as they did, though. That is neat. Today we thought we'd take in some of the trails, some more of the trails. We did some the other night, but thought we'd take in some more of the trails here around the park. And we're going to start by showing you a little bit of the camping loop. So all of the sites, all of the camping sites currently in Mother Neff State Park are full hookup, 30 and 50 amp, concrete parking pads and gravel camping area with picnic tables and fire rings and lantern hooks. I think any size rig could easily camp in here. And the roads are nice. There's 2 lanes, and you know, people always ask us about what type of cell service we get at the different parks. And here at Mother Neff, we have AT&T, and it's been fantastic. Best of many of the parks that we've stayed at. 4 bars of LTE. No trouble uploading anything from here, which is awesome. And the camping is open to both RVs and tent campers here within the loop. And this is the camping restroom right up here. There are trails from the restroom that lead you to different parts of the camping loop. So one tip for dog lovers and dog owners who come here, the sites, there's not grass in the individual camping sites. They keep the areas around them pretty natural, and then the actual campsite area is the fine gravel. So we bring Star down here in front of the restrooms, and there's a nice patch of grass for her to go potty. So if you're tent camping here at Mother Neff, or you just don't want to use your gray tank, you know, maybe you're in a pop-up camper or something like that, on the side of the restrooms they actually have a sink where you can wash your dishes. So that's super convenient. And then right over here, very unusual, we've only so far seen it in one other park, and that was Lake Corpus Christi State Park. I'll link to that video in the description if you're interested. But they have a library where you can take a book, leave a book, and it's got both adult and children's books and magazines. So that is pretty cool. They call it Library in the Park. I wish more parks had something like this. I really like that a lot. So before we head off on the Rock Tower Foot Trail, let's talk about the bathrooms here for a second. This is a new facility. This camping loop did not exist before they redid this section of the park in 2015.
Yeah,
so,
like we said at the beginning, every part right now that we're in is all new.
Yeah.
And so the bathrooms are pretty much brand new. Very nice.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a resort. In the women's bathroom, there are 2 shower stalls, both private with private dressing rooms and doors instead of curtains.
Same thing for the men.
Super clean.
Yes.
And then there are several stalls. There's also handicap accessible, both shower stalls and restrooms. And they have hand soap at the sinks.
Yeah, we love that. We don't see that at all the state parks. Some of them have it, but it's really nice when you have soap in there.
Yeah.
Just to wash your hands.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very, very nice.
And you know what? I haven't checked. I had a friend ask if these were air conditioned, so I'm going to run in real quick and see, because I forgot to pay attention to that the other day when I was in there. So let me go check.
Okay.
Let me hold on to Star.
I will hold on to Star.
All right, so here's the situation on the air conditioning in the restrooms. Doesn't look like they have air conditioning, but they have windows all along the top that are shaded by the awning, and they are open, and they've got big fans in there, so there's good air circulation. So, I mean, it feels, right now it's July, and it's the middle of the day, and it's very comfortable in there. So, no AC, I don't think, but still good. Oh, and check out where you can park your bikes. I love these. They had one of these at the playground area also. How creative is that? Star has been wanting to go on this trail the whole time we've been here. Every time we come down to the bathroom, this trail heads right across from the camping bathrooms, and she always turns down and wants to explore. So here we go, Star. This trail's really shady so far, which is super nice in the summer.
Yeah, middle of the day here, it doesn't feel bad.
Okay, we got our first decision. We want to go to the wash pond. I think we keep going this way and we go to the CCC rock tower.
Okay, let's do it.
Go this way. Here's a ash juniper, commonly called mountain cedar or rock cedar, provides prime habitat for birds, especially the golden-cheeked warbler and black-capped vireo, which are federally listed as endangered species. They use the long, fine bark strips from mature trees to build their nests, and the sweet blueberries are an important food source for many types of wildlife. That is a cool-looking tree. Ash juniper. Wow.
Look at this. See, what's really neat about this is even during the summer here, this is not hot at all.
No.
Because it's seriously shaded and great trail here.
Feels great.
Yeah.
Nice place to hike in the summer.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, really neat. Let's continue.
Yeah. So along this trail, we've seen already a couple of benches that were built and installed by Boy Scouts. This particular bench was an Eagle Scout project of Thomas Daw from Troop 498 out of Elm Mott, Texas in 2015. Thank you, Thomas. This is awesome. We appreciate all the work the Scouts do in our parks. Very cool. So, tip for y'all that hike with dogs. Star is loving her booties that we bought her on Amazon. And I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. But she loves them, and it's been great while we've been here. Not only for the hiking, but also to get to over by the restrooms during the day for her to go potty. And we always bring her water on the trails as well. So this wildlife blind actually also has a water feature, and it says that they're working to improve it right now. So next time the migration of the birds come through, this should be a great place to watch. We made it to the rock tower.
Yeah.
This is a CCC structure, and we'll go up on it in just a minute. But right here next to it is the only cabin / group barracks in the park. And I think they said it used to be the superintendent's home. But it's a super nice place. We've seen pictures of the inside where you can stay. Even got a smoker out back.
Sure does.
He loves it. Wow. What a view. This is pretty cool.
Okay, now we're going to change to the cave trail and let's go see what we can find. Okay, so this is pretty cool. This was built by the CCC, and it was like an original picnic table that they built to blend into the surroundings. And I mean, a lot of it is still here. So, pretty cool. Wow, it's pretty cool. And that got my heart pumping right there. But I think the cave's right over here, so here we go. So here it is. It's the Tonkawa Cave, and they call it the Tonkawa Cave because the Tonkawa people lived in this cave. They say just around 200 years ago. That, to me, doesn't even seem like that long ago that there were people living in this cave. That's pretty cool. And we're going to be able to go down in it. So here we go. at this.
Hey, it's pretty cool down here.
It's pretty cool, and I don't know, they got something growing on the top there.
Wow.
I've never seen that before.
I don't want to get too close to that. I don't know what that is. That's weird. What is that, y'all? Y'all know what that is?
Yeah, let us know. Almost looks like a fur coat. Wow, this is really, it's cool.
It's cool and it's cool.
Yeah, cool cave.
All right, so now we just left Tonkawa Cave and we are going to go check out the wash pond. So now we're picking up the trail that goes from the cave to the wash pond. And I'm entering trails in all trails as we go.
All right.
Made it to the, they say CCC expanded wash pond. So I guess there was a natural pond here, and you can see where they added the rock edges and everything and probably dug it out a little deeper. Okay, so now we know more about the wash pond. Right up here there's a sign that tells us all about it. It was emerging from a complex of springs, it says, so it was spring fed, and that they seep slightly down based on the elevation into that area. So it was a natural area where water would gather and fill the pond, and so that's why a lot of the native people to the area would stop in. The wildlife liked it for drinking and so forth. But back in the 1930s, people began using it to wash their laundry, so that's why it became known as the wash pond. And then when the CCC dammed it, it made it a little bit bigger and it became a popular swimming hole in the early days of the park. And over the years, as nature has changed it and everything, and silt has landed in there, it's gone. You can no longer swim in it. It's now purely for nature and as a watering tank for the animals and something for us to see as we go by. But it's called a wash pond because it was a laundry wash pond back in the day.
Yeah. Well, we just finished. Came backwards on that trail.
Yeah, nice little trail. Saw a little bit of canyon-esque stuff that kind of reminded me of Garner State Park a little bit. So very interesting.
Well, we were just heading from the bathrooms on the trail by the bathrooms going to another part of the camping loop, and out of nowhere we find something I love, a big barbecue grill that was built by the CCC back in the day, and it was built for the NYA, which I guess was a youth program that would come in to kind of finish CCC projects, and they came in the 1940s and they utilized this barbecue pit. So let me kind of show you what's left of it. I mean, look at this.
So yeah, up at the beginning of the camping loop, this is the Prairie Campground, by the way, near site number 20, you'll find this series of boards on the history of the park, the Neff family, the CCC, and the work they did. And what's really super cool, and unlike any of the parks we've been to so far, this park traces where the actual barracks for the men of the CCC were. And they were right here where this campground is now. So this is, the yellow is the camping loop as it exists. laid over a 1935 aerial shot of the barracks, the officers' quarters, the bathhouse, the mess hall. You can see where everything was. And that is just really neat to give you a sense of where the guys stayed and what the camp would have looked like back in the 30s. And we're camping where the CCC guys lived while they built the park. That to me is really neat. Another trail that comes right off the camping loop. This is part of the Prairie Trail. And it takes you over to the CCC Bell, which we're going to show you.
This is cool. This was the old bell from the CCC days. It was actually the dinner bell. Now it's been relocated a little bit, because we're real close to the camping loop, which is where the barracks were, as you saw on that map. But they had to relocate this because it was like right behind the campsite, and that was kind of, you know, annoying to campers as people would keep coming behind their campsite to look at the bell. So they relocated it a little bit. And they also have another site right over here, which it's not here anymore because they said unfortunately people have taken the rocks over the years. But the original flagpole was right over here where they'd have reveille every single, I guess, morning, and with the bugle call and everything, just like the Army. They'd have it and they'd all meet at the flagpole every morning. So that's pretty cool.
Welcome to our campsite. And
Site number 7?
Site number 7. It's right in the curve of the camping loop. All the sites here are 30 and 50 amp full hookup with, you know, water, sewer, the works. The parking areas are all paved concrete. The actual camping area is all this fine gravel. And they come through and when somebody leaves, they come through and kind of regrade the gravel. They all have picnic tables, and I think they're all accessible picnic tables too. Nice heavy-duty metal ones. They all have fire rings, and they all have lantern hooks. And like some of them are pull through, some of them are back in. A lot of them have a lot of privacy. Like this one, we're just kind of tucked back in here, which is beautiful. We've seen painted buntings here in our site, which was fun to watch. You can see a lot of stars at night, which is phenomenal. And so the only downside for us, we love this setup. Super easy to get around in. The only downside is there's no grass in our actual campsite for Star. So we just walk her down to the restroom area like we said. So, but yeah, this is fantastic. Some of them are very shaded, some of them are less shaded. But we've got a nice little shaded area over here that we've been sitting at. Yeah. Just beautiful. Well, we hope you enjoyed this visit to Mother Neff State Park.
Yeah, it's a quiet park. You know, due to the closing of the lower section, you know, right now there is no fishing, but I mean, there's still great hiking and you can bike and, you know, so, and it's a nice quiet park. I like that.
Oh, we really enjoyed our stay. Really nice folks there, beautiful sights. The park is really clean and very well maintained. And
conveniently located to Waco as well.
Absolutely. You know? It's only, what, about 35 minutes for most of the stuff in Waco. So, yeah, we will definitely be back. Put it on your list of places to visit. And until next time, y'all, we'll see you Wednesday. Safe travels.
And happy camping.
Bye.
Bye. On to the next adventure.
Woohoo!